पूर्वी स्क्रीन स्क्रीन शेयर हो रहा है?
जी दिखाई दे रहा है।
हाँ जी।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा। लेट मी मेक इट फुल स्क्रीन। ये फुल स्क्रीन नहीं हो पा रहा है, मुझे नहीं मालूम क्यों।
सर हमको तो दिखाई दे रहा है आपका स्क्रीन।
ठीक है ठीक है। नाउ इट इज फुल स्क्रीन आई थिंक।
जी
ठीक है। सबको मेरा जय जिनेंद्र। आज हम एक ऐसे सब्जेक्ट पर बात कर रहे हैं जो मैं समझता हूँ कि काफी इम्पोर्टेंट है साइंस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, और स्पिरिचुअली भी मैं इसकी इम्पोर्टेंस मानता हूँ कि क्योंकि बिना बॉडी के सोल प्रोग्रेस नहीं करती है। तो इस पे हम विचार करेंगे कि जैन फिलॉसफी में ऐसे कौन से प्रावधान है जो से सोल और बॉडी के बीच में कनेक्शन स्थापित करते हैं। सबसे पहले तो मैं साइंटिफिक व्यू ऑफ बॉडी के ऊपर थोड़ी सी बात करना चाहता हूँ, और quickly I'll go through these points because most of these points are known to everyone. We all know that body consists of cell, and cell nucleus has DNA, and G's code proteins. These are the facts which are well known. And DNA has the information for design of the body. And there are two parts of DNA. One which is a regulatory part of DNA directs genes to produce different kinds of proteins in different parts of the body. And this is how the body is being constructed. All chemicals, all hormones, etc. required for the body are produced locally in right amount at right place and right time. This is a very important statement. Now, how body constructs, how the soul constructs the body, or how the body is being constructed, As for that, all materials required are produced inside the body and at the right place, at the right time, in the right amount. This is a very amazing feature of the body. And we all know brain is the controlling unit, and it communicates with body through chemical and electrical signals. This is how the brain works. And the body has an immune system. We are all aware of this, particularly in the COVID time. It produces antibodies to fight against new virus and bacteria. This is again a very amazing feature of the body. Then the body generates its own electricity. So the electricity is required for functioning of the body parts, and that electricity is produced inside the body itself. And body has the system for digesting the food, recovering the useful elements for its sustenance, and discharging the waste. It's a wonderful system inside the body. And body interacts with the environment and regulates its functioning accordingly. So body is a self-sufficient and self-managing device and does not need intervention of any other power. So very briefly, I have described the salient features of the body. Now, we can ask some questions. Now, the first question is that the body is working so intelligently. All these features which are just now described cannot be accomplished without intelligence. So it's working so intelligently. The question is, what is the source of intelligence? Then the next question we can ask is, how are the experiences, emotions, desires, thinking, choices and decisions, goals and purpose of life explained? So these two are important questions. In my lecture today, I shall deal only with the first part, that how the body works so intelligently. Now, in this background, I'd like to say something about the Jain philosophical view of the body. And we all know that the worldly soul is a body and it is associated with karma. And there are 8 kinds of karma, right from Jnana karma to Gotra karma. There are 8 of them, we all know. And the soul takes birth according to karma and constructs a suitable body. The construction of body starts with the zygote. That has been discussed many times in earlier lectures. And it contains DNA formed jointly by DNA of father and DNA of mother. And the further process of construction is guided by the karma of the soul taking birth in the zygote. So at this point, I'd like to recall 2 important principles, prana and paryapti. And these are very important to understand the functioning of the body. प्राण और पर्याप्ति के बारे में क्या कहा गया है वो मैंने इस पैराग्राफ में दिया है, मैं पढ़ता हूं इसको। प्राण और पर्याप्ति का कार्य कारण संबंध है। जीवन शक्ति को पौद्गलिक शक्ति की अपेक्षा रहती है। जन्म के पहले क्षण में प्राणी कई पौद्गलिक शक्तियों की रचना करता है। उनके द्वारा स्वयोग्य पुद्गलों का ग्रहण, परिणमन व उत्सर्जन होता है। इनकी रचना प्राण शक्ति के अनुपात पर होती है। जिस प्राणी में जितनी प्राण शक्ति की योग्यता होती है वो उतनी ही पर्याप्तियों का निर्माण कर सकता है। प्राण जीव है और पर्याप्ति पुद्गल है, बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है। प्राणियों के शरीर के माध्यम से होने वाली जितनी भी क्रियाएं हैं वे सब आत्मक शक्ति और पौद्गलिक शक्ति दोनों के पारंपरिक सहयोग से होती है। तो बॉडी में जितनी हमारे प्रोसेसेस है उसमें सोल और मैटर दोनों का रोल रहता है। अब प्राण के बारे में थोड़ी सी बात करेंगे, मैं थोड़ा सा जल्दी जाऊंगा क्योंकि लंबा लेक्चर है। प्राणास आर साइन ऑफ लाइफ, and pranas are means of expression of consciousness and intelligence of soul in the gross body. जो gross body में जो intelligent functioning हो रही है वो प्राण के कारण है। Pranas have 2 forms, dravya pran and abha pran. Dravya pran is the physical form comprising of tejas vargana, and abha pran is consciousness and intelligence of the soul, the manifested consciousness and intelligence of the soul expressed in the organism. Bha pranas are the real pran, without which the life is not possible. Termination of pran is death, and installation of prana is starting of life. This is how the life starts. Dravya pranas are source of vitality in the organism. Pranas are divided in 10 groups. So these 10 pranas are, one is Ayush prana. This is the sole power to keep the body alive for a predetermined time units, and we'll discuss about it later. When it terminates, death occurs. So Ayush prana determines the lifespan. Then Swachoswas prana. This soul power provides force for breathing and blood circulation functions. Then Sharir Bal prana. This soul power vitalizes the body. Vachan Bal and Bhasha Bal Pran. It is the force behind vocal expression, both articulate and inarticulate. Manah Bal Pran. It is the force behind mental activity. And then we have got 5 Indriya Pran of corresponding to 5 sense organs. And it is the sole power behind functioning of the 5 sense organs and the brain. The brain is coupled with the sense organs. The Bha Prana of the five sense organs and the mind are produced in the soul on Akshayam of Antaraya Karma and Mati Jnana Varniya Karma. This is the theory, how the pranas are produced. The sensing power of the sense organ is due to prana. Without prana, the sense organ would not function. The Bha Prana of the body, speech and respiration are produced in the soul by rise of Nam Karma, and Ayus Prana is produced by rise of Ayus Karma. This is the theory how the pranas are produced. And I have shown this in a diagram here. You'll see that the blue one is the Tejas body here, and this Tejas body is excited by karma, and it draws Tejas Vargana from the surroundings, and which is known as An, and it outputs as Pran, and this is internal breathing. So the Tejas Vargana, excited by rising karma, draws in Tejas Vargana from the cosmos and then outputs them as a pran. So there are Indriya Pran, 5, Manabal Pran. Now all these 6 are produced by Jnana Varni and Antaraya Karma, Kshayopsam of these 2 karmas. Then Swachosach Pran, Sarir Pran and Vachanbal Pran are produced by rise of Nam Karma. And Ayus Pran is produced by rise of Ayus Karma. Okay, and all these pranas then interact with the gross body, and they are the source of intelligence regarding the body processes. Now we quickly talk about Paryapti, or what we call as a biopotential. Paryapti is the physical power. Okay, the prana is the intelligent power, and this is Paryapti is the physical power, Bodgolic. Paryapti has 2 meanings: necessary preparation for new body, and number 2, working of the body thereafter. So Paryapti has 2 aspects. The first, it's starting with the body itself. The Paryapti is to be completed, and thereafter, the Paryapti provides the physical force for working of the body. Major decisions about this life, such as the place of birth, form of the body, gender, body with or without deficiency, etc., have been made in the last life. And the first step in this life is to execute these decisions, which are contained in the karman body. And the Paryaptis are also 6. Number 1 is Ahar Paryapti, what we call the food biopotential. Food biopotential is the power so that the body gets nourishment. And the food is of 3 kinds, Kaulahar, Bhojahar, Bromahar, we all know about it. Then Sharir Priyapti, the body biopotential. This is the biopotential, is the power of making of the body. Then Indriya Paryapti, sensing system biopotential. This power is making, it's used for making and proper functioning of the sensing system. Sensing system, consists of 2 parts: the senses or sense organs and the brain. Swachosach Paryapti. This biopotential ensures making and proper functioning of the respiratory system, which consists of 2 parts, the lung and heart. Then Bhasha Paryapti, which is known as speech biopotential, and this ensures proper speech production and transmission system. And Mana Paryapti, this enables making of the mind and its functioning. These are the role of Paryaptis. There are 2 aspects here. Number 1, installation of these powers, the Paryaptis, in the zygote, in the first instant. And thereafter, manifestation of these powers in the body so that the body functions. So the 2 aspects of Paryapti. Installation of all Paryaptis takes place simultaneously right in the beginning of life, just after the zygote is formed, and the new soul taking birth enters this zygote. The process is really fast, and the development of powers is completed in less than one antar muhurt, that is in few minutes. And however, the time of completion of each power is different, but all powers are completed in one antar muhurt. Now, when we say that the paryaptis are completed in such a short time, the question to be asked is, what actually happens to the zygote, which is about 1/10 of a millimeter in size? This is the size of a cell, in just a few minutes, so that all paryaptis are completed. We have to answer this question. So we have to answer this question. For this, I take help of the scientific information. अब एक और इंफॉर्मेशन हमको जो हमारे टेक्स्ट है उनसे मिलती है। योनिभूत वीर्य की स्थिति जगन्य अंतर्मुहूर्त, कुछ अंतर्मुहूर्त होती है और उत्कृष्ट कुछ काल होती है। गर्भ में प्रवेश पाते समय जीव का पहला आहार ओज और वीर्य होता है। वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव सेड। वे स्वप्रायोग पुद्गलों का आकर्षण और संग्रह करते हैं। गर्भज प्राणी का प्रथम आहार रज वीर के अणुओं का होता है। दिस इज जाइगोट। जाइगोट इज द फर्स्ट आहार। देवता अपने अपने स्थान के पुद्गलों का संग्रह करते हैं, लेकिन गर्भज प्राणी का प्रथम आहार, जैसा कि पहले का है, रजवीर के पुद्गल परमाणुओं का होता है। इसके अनंतर ही उत्पन्न प्राणी पौद्गलिक शक्तियों का क्रमिक निर्माण करते हैं। प्रत्येक प्राणी के उत्पत्ति स्थान में वर्ण, गंध, रस, स्पर्श का कुछ तारतम्य होता है। ये इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, लेकिन इम्पोर्टेंट ये है कि पौद्गलिक शक्तियों का निर्माण होता है। So what is this implies that the zygote which is formed, see, remember the zygote which is formed is a part of mother's body, initially, and the Karman body and the Tejas body of the mother are controlling its activities. The zygote is formed in the mother's body. So the first thing for starting new life is transfer of zygote from mother to incoming soul. And this I have shown here in the diagram here. So zygote, the mother's soul leaves the zygote and new soul enters the zygote. This is what happens. This is the first ahar. So zygote is the first ahar, of as far as the soul is concerned. And this is followed by exchange of Karman body and Tejas body. So now, as the soul enters the zygote, the Karman body and Tejas body of the incoming soul, gets into the zygote. And so the first thing is to exchange Karman body and Tejas body. Earlier, Karman body and Tejas body of the mother was controlling the zygote. Now when the soul enters, the Karman body and Tejas body of the new soul now start controlling the zygote. This is what we mean here. Then we know that DNA has two parts. One is genes, which is the coding part, and another is the non-coding regulatory part. You see, the genes contain only about 2% of the total DNA. About 98% is the regulatory non-coding part in DNA. So what does the paryapti do? The paryapti is concerned with transfer of information from the Karman body to the non-coding regulatory part. This is what I speculate, that, what is completion of paryapti? The completion of paryapti means, that the transfer of information from the Karman body to the DNA, the non-coding part, regulatory part. So this information now, which is coming from the Karman body, now controls genes. This transfer is completed in a few minutes' time, antarmuhurt. As the cells divide, the information is copied, and cells have the same information. All cells will have the same information because they are being copied, All Atma have the same karma. This is the same thing as what we say in Jain philosophy. And I have shown here in the diagram below that, this is the yellow line represents the DNA thread. These are the genes on the DNA, G1, G2, and so on. There are so many genes, thousands of them. And this is the non-coding part of the DNA. So the Paryapti that is concerned with transfer of information from the carbon body of the soul to this part, So the Paryapti means now this DNA has the information according to the carbon body of the soul. In fact, you can say that a hard copy in the DNA is prepared from a soft copy of karma. So the soft copy of karma prepares a hard copy in DNA. This is what we can say. If the transfer process is successfully completed, that is, there is errorless copying, then soul is said to be paryapta. In case there is a copying error, then soul is said to be non-paryapta. It is non-paryapta. The transfer process takes place in a certain order. The ahar paryapti is completed first on the receipt of the first ahar, followed by other paryaptis. The power of paryaptis manifest in the body and perform the following functions. This is the second aspect of paryaptis. First is the transfer of information, preparing copy. Then afterward in our life, all paryaptis are doing certain functions in our body. What are these functions? So for example, ahar paryapti. Now it ensures that enzymes and other chemicals are produced in the digestion system, stomach, and body gets nourishment. This is the function of ahar paryapti. Then sarir paryapti ensures that all fluids, blood, flesh, fat, tissues, marrow, sperm and egg, bones, sapta dhatu are produced and used for formation of organs and other parts of the body. Nam karma has the essential role in all these functions. Then Indriya Paryapti ensures that the sense organs and brain are formed and functions properly. Swachosach Paryapti ensures formation and proper functioning of the heart, lung, and the respiratory system. Vachan Paryapti ensures formation and proper functioning of vocal and speech system. Mana Paryapti ensures functioning of brain and mind. So in all above processes, pranas provide intelligent complementary forces. So the paryaptis and pranas work jointly, and both are essential for formation and functioning of the body. And we know that karmas are the original source. And I have shown here this in this chart, what are the body parts and how they are functioning. The full body, the karma responsible for that is the nam karma, and it's the sharir paryapti and sharir bal pran. Both are responsible for this system of full body. Then brain senses system. Mati Gyanavani karma, Antraya karma, Nam karma are the responsible karmas. Then Indriya Paryapti and Indriya Prana, they are working in the body in these parts, for their functioning. Then heart, lung system. The Swachosach Paryapti and Swachosach Prana, both are working for this. Then speech system, Bhasa Paryapti and Vachanbal Prana are working. Bhasa Paryapti is the physical force and Vachanbal Prana is the intelligent force. Then mind. And this is this is working because of Manaha Paryapti and Manaha Bal Prana. Then there is another, this is very interesting part, how the digestive system is working. Now for this, these two are clubbed. This is of course working because of Ayush karma and because it is Ayush prana is being produced. So the Ahar Paryapti and Ayush prana are pairing together for functioning of the digestive system and maintaining the life. I'll discuss about these two later also in my lecture. This is an important aspect. The prana and paryapti are working jointly as body. This is what I explained. And for this, the information paryapti is installed in the non-coding part of DNA, as I explained, and is working intelligently because of prana. And this is how the system works, I have explained it. I'll skip it. Another important aspect which I want to discuss is the generation of bioelectricity in the body. I did discuss it in one of my earlier lectures, and I tried to connect prana with bioelectricity. I'll not go in very detailed over because it's a long lecture. The bioelectricity, is responsible for synthesis of enzymes, proteins in the cells, functioning and control of the various organs and the development and growth of the body organisms. And this is really the function of prana, So I am connecting prana with bioelectricity. So each cell produces bioelectricity, okay? And this I speculate this is because of Ayush prana. So the bioelectricity in a cell is being produced by Ayush prana. Then Swachoswach prana, it refers to heart-lung system, and the heart has a dedicated source of electricity, and I suppose that this electricity is being produced by Swachoswach prana. Then Sari prana, is related to bioelectricity causing metabolism and is responsible for synthesis of enzymes and proteins in the cell and its division. Then Indriya prana is responsible for working of the sense organs. And the Indriya, has two parts, Nivritti and Upkarana. Nivritti is the sense organ proper. Upkarana is the brain, So both brain and the sense organs, they are working with the help of electricity produced in the brain by Indriya prana here. Then speech also requires explanation. Speech is not just sound, The speech is sound plus meaning. Mere sound is not speech, It must have a meaning. How the meaning is imparted, this also I did discuss in the earlier lectures. This is a mental phenomena. And so therefore, there is a mental activity involved in the speech production. And for that, the Vachamal prana is being used. Mind in Jainism is different from brain, this we must accept. The brain is not mind. It is a subtle unit which is made of monoorgana, and it works in conjunction with the brain. Of course, brain is essential for working of mind, but brain is not mind. Mind and brain form a system, and they two together perform the mental activity or the mental functions. Another aspect which I have included in this lecture is production of biophoton. I'll skip that part because the later part is important, the time is limited. And this also I had discussed earlier, how the biophotons are produced. And I connected the production of biophoton with the Nam Karma in one of my lectures. So I will not discuss about that. I'll discuss about Leshya. Leshya again is an important aspect as far as the working of the body is concerned, and it defines our inner personality. So it defines it determines our bhav, or bhav determines Leshya, other way around. So the bhav represents our inner emotions, cognition, state, patience, and feeling. And the leshyas comprising of bhav are expressed with the help of mind, without the help of mind. So when the leshyas and the bhavas are being expressed, mind has no role. The bhav is independent of mind. The thinking and bhav are two different aspects of our life. There are bhav leshyas and drav leshyas. Bhav leshya is a karma generated state of the soul, and drav leshya, which is a kind of emission, is said to have a color and the properties of Pudgal. This is Pudgal, for physical. And there are different colors, different kinds of leshyas, probably because it is supposed that this drav leshya has color. It is physical. Drav leshya is formed by interaction of Karman Vargana and Tejas Vargana. Though both Karman Vargana and Tejas Vargana are 4-touch matter, the Drav leshya is supposed to be 8-touch matter. This is produced from 4-touch matter. How leshyas interact with the body, nothing is known, nothing is given rather in the scriptural text. But Acharya Mahapragya says that, the Drav leshyas interact with the endocrine glands. And the logic behind this is that the hormones which are being secreted by the endocrine glands have been connected with bhav, or the feelings or the emotions, even in psychology. So there is a connection between the feelings and hormone. And the feelings are produced by bhav. So there is a connection between bhav and hormone. So Acharya Mahapragya says that the drav leshyas in fact interact with the endocrine glands, particularly the pituitary and the hypothalamus, and they control the secretions of these two glands. And these two glands are master glands, and the secretion from these two control or regulate the secretion of hormones from other glands. So the entire hormone system is being controlled by leshya and our emotions. And this is what then I have shown in the diagram, how the Tejas body, the Karman body, and the Udaric body is connected. One through the leshya, as I said earlier, which are working with the endocrine glands. Then the prana is working in the body through bioelectricity and biophotons, and that paryapti is working through DNA because the hard copy is prepared in DNA. So this is how these three important aspects of our life, and they connect Karman body and Udaric body, and explain how the Udaric body is really functioning intelligently. And because we know the Karman body and soul is connected, so there is an indirect connection between soul and Udaric body. Not direct. The connection between soul and the Udaric body is made through Karman body. There is no direct connection. Now, I'd like to discuss very important aspect, and this is being discussed in the group. What is the relation between ayus, karma, and age? So I thought it proper to include this part in this lecture. So to start with, I define two types of age. One I call as a karmic age, which is a karma dependent age determined by the quantity of ayus karma, and it is measured in terms of karma and is equal to the maximum limit fixed by the quantum of ayus karma. In the span of this limit, all the ayus karmas are exhausted. So this limit is not known a priori in terms of conventional time. So in terms of conventional time, that is years and so on, we do not know what is the karmic age in terms of years, But we do know that, the quantum of Ayush karma is fixed, So that fixes the maximum limit. Then another term I use chronological age. This is the time span of the actual age measured in conventional time, what we call years, days, and so on. So if you measure the age in terms of years, I call it the chronological age. And this age depends upon the rate at which the karmas are rising in life. There is a fixed amount of ayush karma, and these ayush karmas are rising and giving. Uh, they are producing ayush prana, which are working in the body. So the rate at which the ayush prana working in the body, that means the rate at which the ayush karma are being exhausted or are rising, decides the chronological age. The maximum limit of this age, of course, is the same as the karmic age because the total amount of karma is fixed. Ayush karma is fixed. And I explain this with the help of an example. This is the example given by Anilji also in his book. And I like that example and I'm quoting that here. Suppose you have a tank, water tank, it contains water. And there is a hole at the bottom through which the water is drained out. So the question is, in how much time this tank will get empty? Of course, this depends upon the size of the hole and the rate at which the water is flowing out. So if the rate is very slow, no, it will take more time to empty the tank. And if the rate is large, the time will be less. The time for emptying will be less. This is exactly what happens in the case of Ayush karma. So the actual age is represented by the time of emptying the tank, how much time. This is the chronological age. And this varies with the rate at which the Ayush karma are exhausted or Ayush karma is rising. The working of Ayush karma can be roughly explained here. We know that Ayush karma works through Ayush prana. Now I am trying to find an explanation of what I have said here. Ayush prana is instrumental in the generation of bioelectricity and functioning of the cell. This is what I said earlier. The energy requirement of the cell is at the rate at which the Ayush karma.
Excuse me, sir, आप थोड़ा माइक पास में लेंगे प्लीज. एक दो लोगों का मैसेज आया है, उनको प्रॉपर्ली सुना ही नहीं दे रहा है.
ओके मैंने थोड़ा सा पास में कर लिया है कंप्यूटर. दिस इज व्हाट आई कैन डू.
यस.
I don't know whether I can increase the volume.
No, it is okay. It is fine.
The problem is कि हमारे सेल कैसे काम करते हैं. सेल की एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या है और जो सेल है, जो टिश्यूज हैं बॉडी में, उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है और वो क्या जल्दी काम करते हैं, ज्यादा एनर्जी कंज्यूम करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं, ज्यादा उसमें प्राण कंज्यूम करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं, ये पॉइंट है. तो इसके लिए मैंने 4 फैक्टर यहाँ डिस्क्राइब किए हैं. वो ज्यादा भी हो सकते हैं. द फर्स्ट इज नरिशमेंट. दैट इज वो जो घड़े का जो एग्जाम्पल है उसमें फ्लो कितना जल्दी होता है या नहीं होता है, ये डिपेंड करता है इस फैक्टर पे. वन इज नरिशमेंट, फूड इनटेक. आयुष प्राणा वाज पेयर्ड विद आहार पर्याप्ति. देखिए मैंने पहले आपको कहा था ये कि आहार पर्याप्ति और आयुष प्राणा का कंपेयर किया, वो क्लब किया था, पेयर किया था. अब उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस यहाँ दिखाई गई है. जो फूड इनटेक है, द एंजाइम्स एंड अदर केमिकल्स are required for digesting food needing intense cell activity, consuming energy. Excessive food, improper food, heavy food and the like puts heavy demand on cell needing more prana energy. On the other hand, fasting reduces demand. It also benefits the system in other ways, which I am not discussing. But the point is that the food is one aspect, for the consumption of prana energy. Then patience, kashaya. Rising patience, kashaya ka hridaya hota hai, particularly anger, will influence the brain and heart adversely, increasing the cell activity and prana energy requirement. Manifold. Disease, as we all know, अगर disease हो गई है तब भी प्राण एनर्जी ज्यादा कंज्यूम होगी, तो सेल फंक्शन बढ़ जाएगी. एनवायरनमेंट कैसा है? एनवायरनमेंट अगर पोल्यूटेड है तो ऑब्वियसली सेल फंक्शनिंग और सेल की रिक्वायरमेंट बढ़ जाती है. So all above factors increase the rate of fruition of Ayush karma and will reduce the chronological age and vice versa. Okay, so you can now correlate the chronological age with the body functioning. कुछ और फैक्टर्स मैं यहाँ डिस्कस करना चाहता हूँ. अनटाइमली डेथ, ये भी डिस्कशन में आया था. What happens in the case of untimely death? Death can occur by accident or by other natural calamities. In all such cases, all the remaining ayush karma are drained at once and life comes to an end. In the above example, it means that the tank is broken and all the remaining water is spilled out. This is untimely death. This is how you can explain. एक और interesting point है cryogenic freezing of the body. This also probably was discussed in the group. There is a proposal to cryogenically freeze the body for a certain time to enhance the lifespan. This is what science is planning to do. During such a condition, the cell activity is slowed down, okay? And the prana requirement is reduced. To that extent, the chronological life can be increased. But that would happen, but what would happen to the body, organs in this period is a medical question, if during cryogenical freezing. The prana requirement of this cell, however, cannot be reduced to zero. Even if there is a cryogenic freezing of the body, a certain amount of prana has to be consumed to maintain the life. So that means, even during the freezing process, the pranas will be continued to be rising, and the body will function. So it is possible that in the meantime, for which that is for the time period of the cryogenic freezing, suppose the karmas are adjusted, then of course the person will be dead. Then there is application of technology. This also I have included here. So transplant of organs. This is a common thing now. Is an established practice in which the malfunctioning organ is replaced by a working organ from another body. Such an effort comes under the Purushas and does not violate the law of karma. So you are doing something to the body, does not. So you can always do that, You can keep the body healthy and so on. You can change the parts of the body. The law of karma is not violated. The body shall function so long as ayush karma are in balance. Then there are also efforts for technological enhancements. Efforts are underway to implant certain devices in the body. So, for example, suppose a chip is implanted in the brain, This is what Elon Musk is going to do. So, particularly the brain, to assess the organ, enhancing its capacity or reducing its load, and thereby increasing the lifespan. This is possible and does not violate the law of karma. I mean, you can repair the body any way you like. The karma, the rule of karma is not violated. I also try to discuss what happens in hells and heavens. As far as the hells and heavens are concerned, there are no Surya and Chandra. Surya and Chandra, they exist only in the middle loka, and they are absent in the upper loka and lower loka. So Surya and Chandra are absent. Means that there is no clock standard or time standard in heaven and hell, because the time standard is fixed with the help of Surya and Chandra only. So there is no time standard in heaven and hell. That is number one. So heavens are always lighted, of course, and self-illuminated. There is no day and night system in the heavens. The age of Deva and Ark is expressed in earth standards. So when we say that the Deva has a lifespan of 10,000 years, then this is 10,000 years of our earth, remember, because there is no time standard in the heaven. This is the time period in those loka, which may not be same as the time period on earth. This is another aspect, which I am not emphasizing here, that what is the relation between the time period on heaven and time period on earth. It could be different. Are devas aware of their age? I have raised the question here, because there is no time standard, there is no clock. So what is said in the literature is that the devas have a garland, whose flowers get dry just before 6 months of the end of the age, and then they know that this fact, that their age is now coming to an end. So this is what I think this is a metaphorical description. It only probably means that when the 6 months are left, the 6 months of their age is left, there is probably some kind of structural changes in the body, and the devas get aware that of course my life is now coming to an end. Otherwise, there is no time standard. So conclusion, I like to say that the soul manages the body, acting through pariyapti, pran, and leshya. I described these three. Jain philosophy, of course, does not provide details of the body as the science does, but the Jain philosophy has given these principles. So there's a little diagram here to explain this. The body, and as far as the Jain philosophy is concerned, it consists of soul and matter both. As far as science is concerned, the body consists of matter only. Okay, this is the scientific view. So all body processes are the science tries to explain with the help of property of matter. But the fact remains that the body processes are being governed, whether we believe or not, by soul and matter. Okay, the science does not believe in soul, but that does not matter. It's the functioning, it is functioning in the body. So all those functions which are taking place in the body are actually taking place because of soul and matter. And science think that this is only matter which is working. This is the analogy, this is the flaw, in their thinking. They think that the body processes are taking place by matter only, but which is not so, because how the body processes take place intelligently cannot be explained with matter alone. So the soul is a necessary component of life. So I like to stop here, and we can discuss on these things which I have just now described. Thank you.
Kachhara sir, thank you so much.